That's right. Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
And tonight, we're here to write out a prescription to check out one of the most addictive miniseries on Hulu. It's our Dopesick Deep Dive podcast. Oh boy. Dragon, we're dealing with some heavy themes here. But you called attention to Dopesick in last movie memoirs. It's kind of funny because I feel like last month, in spite of a lot of really big movies coming out last month, both of us had big highlights in the TV department. I had Everything's Going to Be Okay on Hulu. Ironically, both things on Hulu.
Well, no, you had that last month. In November, I had this.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So this has been lingering in my mind for a while, and of course, Dragon, I've been on the Hulu train. I've been back on it for a while. You know, I kind of jump on and off the Hulu train, like
which drives me nuts when I point you in the direction of good stuff like this.
I know. Well, here I am. I'm back on the train.
Yep.
I got around to it, and it's fantastic.
Yep, vindication.
Dragon, no time to waste on this thing, man. We're gonna get right into it. This is going to be our Dopesick deep dive. And Dragon, first and foremost, I just want to lay out one fundamental here, which is this show, it's definitely getting the critic praise for sure. And it's winning awards, it's getting critic praise. It is not being talked about enough on YouTube specifically.
Kind of the lot in life for all the great shows like the Kiddings of the
This
world.
is Kidding 2.0, Dragon, I swear to God.
Yep.
It's like, why aren't more people talking about this? Keaton, man, Keaton. And Keaton's the tip of the iceberg with the great cast. Oh my God.
Yeah. It's truly an ensemble. I mean, everyone on
We've got Adam Warlock.
And Claire Temple.
Oh God. And the Dear Evan Hansen girl.
Yep, actually, it's funny. There are four MCU characters on this poster alone. If you think about it, because you have Nicodemus from Doctor Strange on there too.
Oh God! All right. So, Dragon, you want to just do our thesis statements for the show now? I'll let you go first.
All right. So, Dopesick, stunning miniseries on Hulu. Probably, I mean, honestly, offhand, I still kind of stand by as I have to really reevaluate. But since a lot of things were put on hold last year, probably the best TV of 2021 easily. Dopesick was probably the best thing to come out TV wise of that year. Masterfully told story about the opioid crisis in a cinematic and compelling narrative style, not just a story about addiction, which on itself might have been compelling, but just about the greed and corruption that led to just this eerie kind of cause and effect on the little guys at play. I mean, it's a David and Goliath crusade. It's that's kind of doomed, but you're hopeful. You're hopeful for along the way, and it's like that justice will be done and lives will be saved. It's got a brilliant ensemble. Michael Strohberg is utterly magnetic. I mean, doing like a D'Onofrio levels of fascinating performance at play here. Keaton, so endearing, and also the big thing I want to highlight with Keaton all throughout is that this is such a full circle return to a big movie everyone forgets that Keaton did. Clean and Sober, the movie they got overshadowed by 89. It's like 88,
man.
You had Clean and Sober. In the memoirs, because of this, I watched the beginning
and
of
this is probably going to get overshadowed by like, hey, Keaton, DCEU.
Yep, yet again.
Keaton Batman, am I right?
Yet again, overshadowed by some Batman news, but...
oh, God, and Andrew Garfield sitting in the corner like, don't worry, Michael, I know what it's like.
Yep, same thing happened to me that year. So just
I just wanted to talk about Jonathan Larson and my method acting, but they all just wanted to hear about Spider-Man, and I was all right anyway.
So he's just great in this unflappably honest performance of what this man goes through, and it just utterly, I couldn't say enough nice things about this Dopesick series. Truly, just wonderful. Again, the fact that it's a mini series, I mean, the whole story's there and it's laid out expertly. I couldn't be as glowing as if I were talking about a third season of Kidding that we're not going to get.
Yeah, so Dragon, I was just as sold on this as you were, as far as you did the selling for me, but But man, God, that first scene that I'm sure we're going to get into when we talk about Strawberry's performance is it's instantly magnetic, Dragon. It just draws you in. It's like, whoa, okay, that is a villain for you. That is a villain specifically because it's like this dude thinks he's doing the right thing. By all intents and purposes, he's doing the right thing in his own mind. But he will cross so many lines to get to that point. And it's such a haunting thesis for the whole rest of the show and its themes. And yeah, of course, Dragon will break down the framing device, but I think obviously besides the masterful cast, which I mean, this show is just expertly cast, like top to bottom. There's not a bad performance in the bunch. But I would say obviously the biggest asset to this show is the framing device, which we'll get to. But yeah, I mean, top to bottom, it really is just a very fascinating. Like, at a certain point in this show, Dragon, I know this sounds kind of like a leap, but I was sort of like having like oh my God, this is almost like a real world zombie movie sort of thing where it's like there's no stopping it. It's just spreading and spreading.
Yep, and it all really happened.
Yeah. So, and Dragon, I also want to point out, I don't want to get into personal details, but let's just say my family, specifically on my mother's side, yeah, I don't want to touch the details there, but I can relate. I can relate to some of the stuff. I can definitely relate. It definitely touched a nerve with me on a personal level. That's all I'll say about that. I will just say it is very authentic for what it's trying to represent, and I can tell you that like on a secondhand level. All right, Dragon. Let's get into it. Let's talk about the framing device. Where do you want to start with that?
Well, real quick, I just want to let me insert like a second of background here. Just
oh yeah,
quick.
Go ahead. Sorry.
So yeah, so this Danny Strong did this. This was Danny Strong's baby. So this guy, way back in the day, he actually was he was pals with video store pals with Quentin Tarantino. He would come in all the time.
Oh man,
they chatted up. So he went on to he was kind of he's kind of a kind of a character actor at times. Like the thing I remember most for was he had a really fun. He was in basically one of the best episodes of Mad Men, kind of a small role. That was only there for a couple episodes, but he kind of teed things up. And he went on to co-create Empire, the show, which of course kind of leads into the empire building business that this miniseries is all about, I'm sure. So basically, this whole story adapts a book on the whole opioid crisis, the origins and the crusade to stop it, called Dopesick, Dealers, Doctors, and the Drug Company that Addicted America. That's what the book's called. And essentially, everything, the Sacklers are very obviously real people. The Sackler family and everything, as we definitely verify by the very end here, all that absolutely happened. Our characters, because again, like sometimes life doesn't like just fall exactly like the Tetris bricks kind of lays the path out to land in. Sometimes it's we have amalgamations of real testimony. So all this stuff has happened to people, but the fact, like, was there a Dr. Phoenix? Was there, was it specifically this lady? Were these two lawyers? I mean, again, there were lawyers and people on these things happen, but it's not by these
Can I jump in with that really quick?
Okay.
I just want to say that is another one of the show's best assets is the amalgamation characters, because I really feel like creatively it gave the writers a really rich opportunity to just flesh out all these different stories and all these different experiences into individual people without it feeling larger than life. And with because Dragon, it's basically lying. You know what I mean? It's basically the art of a good lie in the sense that they are technically telling the truth. Like, all these things are coming from personal experience. The only thing that's a lie about it is the order, and like it's not all coming from the same person. So it's like, I love it from a storytelling level. It's like it makes me really interested in. I'm sorry, it makes me really interested in in crafting God, biographical fiction, I guess you would call it. I guess it's the genre.
Sure.
Which, Dragon, as you know, you and I are kind of big into.
Yes, we're
fans.
We're
anyways.
biopic aficionados, without question.
I would say so. I would use that terminology. Sure.
Yes. So yeah, absolutely. It kind of helps steep the authenticity, just make it very kind of believable. Because again, it is based somewhat on based on fact, just not one to one fact. So. Anyways, also they chose Virginia of the southern locations to shoot in because, well, it was cheaper to shoot in Virginia. That's why our main location of the small town is Virginia, out of all the places.
Well, I mean, to be fair, they also have the. I mean, I guess so. I guess that makes sense, from a budgetary
Well, I mean, it
standpoint.
was
But
like a 1-in-3 shot. They had to
it
shoot in
also
the
makes
South
sense from
somewhere.
a from a background standpoint of obviously it's the coal mining community.
I know that's what I'm saying. I think
Virginia does have a coal mining community.
I
So,
think they lucked
anyways,
out on that one. Was my
yeah,
point?
yeah.
It's like, yeah. Oh boy, we found a place. Like the shooting was like kind of a 1-in-3 shot, and we landed okay on that. Okay.
All right.
All right, so yeah, let's talk some structure here. So, again, this thing, narrative masterpiece, and also very ambitious because we jump around a lot in this. And
This is like the best Aaron Sorkin project that Aaron Sorkin never wrote.
Absolutely. And here's the thing, Tiki. On the rewatch, this thing is amazing on a rewatch. I did not expect this. All the ambitious clauses and how they lay out this timeline, it pays off so great on a rewatch where you're catching things you'd even catch on the first watch of how exactly the timeline is kind of teeing you up for certain reveals. So for example, Elizabeth Ann, the girl with the birthmark, remember?
Uh-huh.
So the girl with the birthmark, she was kind of the first kind of gobsmacking reveal in the series where so Dr. Phoenix is walking her through, you're going to have basically having her first period. And of course, when we cut to her later in the story with the lawyer's story a couple of years later after the opioid crisis has hit, she's offering sexual favors for drugs. That's brilliant.
Yeah, sure.
Tragic, mind you, but absolutely brilliant. And that's what I'm saying. This allows you to go, allowing you to go the non-linear route and build up the dread and the heartbreak in the past by telling you up front, okay, we have the trial as kind of our main thing, and we're arming you with information of teasing what the story's going to be up front. So I love all that with our structure.
Yeah, I think you pretty much summed it up, Dragon. What I love about the structure is that, like you said, I mean, you illustrated why it works so well. But in the moment, as you're watching it, you're just kind of transfixed because it's just wildly jumping around through these different time periods, and you're like, "Oh my god!" I'm compelled, and I'm watching it, and I'm definitely into it. But how is this all going to weave together, man? That it's like. You're literally seeing the writers throw up these narrative juggling balls into the air and just balancing them all.
And it's kind of such a hat trick because again, you have the timeline at play, and then you also have we're focusing on kind of these 2 to 3 stories. I don't know if you just want to say all the Virginia stuff is one story, and then you have the Purdue Pharma stuff, or however you want to split that up. But you at least have stuff going on in '96 when it all starts. You have stuff in the 2000s with the lawyers investigating and basically investigation overall, and then of course you have the 2019 link up of it all at the end. So there's multiple timelines. It is quite the juggling act, as you said. Also, I love the crossover intersect of our stories so much. Like Bridget dismisses our lawyers at the beginning after she's gotten divorced. And what do we do in our? We show what led to the divorce, but also we show why she's demoralized in the bar because of what led to her divorce was getting demoralized by this case, which is that's great. That's what I'm saying. On the rewatch, there's so much fun. Like we don't get to the title of the show until episode 4, right at the sweet halfway point. Very hauntingly, just so many wonderful payoffs and our link up to 2019 at the end. Just great. I like that we did that in lieu of the traditional text we end biopic stuff with ordinarily.
Oh, I totally agree. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I am not a fan of that sort of thing.
I love it when the text shows up, but I like when we change it up though.
I mean, I think it can work when it's done in an ironic way. Like, I think The Social Network used it to have one last dig at Mark Zuckerberg, which I think worked really well, for example. But anyways.
All right, so let's break them down.
Yeah, so we're going to basically go character by character. This is essentially, folks, this is how Wikipedia lays out the cast, and it's how we wrote out our notes. So we're just going to go that way. All right, Dragon. So first, we're going to talk about the main villain of the piece. Would you like to take the lead here?
Oh, yes.
Ironically enough, one of the only characters that's actually based on a real man.
Yes, Richard Sackler, played by the wonderful Michael Strolberg. Oh my God, I've always loved me some Strolberg.
Here's what's crazy about Michael Strolberg is, of course, I first saw him in Call Me by Your Name, and Dragon, my impression of him in Call Me by Your Name. It was like, this guy's the best dad ever. It's like let's do a top 10 list of cinematic dads right now. He's at the top, number 1. And oh boy, oh man, Dragon, that's just the sign of a freaking actor with amazing range right there. I'm excited to watch this guy's career.
Yeah, I mean, I've already loved Stolberg from stuff like Men in Black 3 and of course majorly Shape of Water. Every time he pops up, it's just great. I
Your
recently,
Honor, you said?
yeah, that's what I was about to get to. So in Your Honor, he's starting to make the transition to villains. Your Honor, he plays a mobster, and now
So,
he's
Dragon, you know what's funny about Your Honor?
what?
I went on to Showtime to
Yeah,
watch Your Honor,
yes,
and then I saw fucking Yellow Jackets instead. And I
really.
was like, that premise has me. I need to watch it. So I'm watching Yellow Jackets currently, and then I will get to that. But anyways,
Well, so much for progress. All right, so
have you heard of Yellow Jackets?
I've heard of Yellowstone, but that's not really the same.
It is not Yellowstone. No, it is I don't know. I think you would like it, given the Yellow Jackets has a very similar structure to this. But anyways, I'll tell you about it off air. Anyways, let's get into it.
Okay, the point being, Schroeder's been making the transition to a villain since Your Honor, and he's been doing a great job. And here, as I said earlier, he kind of plays very much like a kingpin of villains in this miniseries, and he's so darn good because he plays it so eternalized and soft spoken. And as the show goes on, you peel back the layers of this guy, and it just allows you to interpret like how a guy, or mainly a doctor like this, can be so divorced from the purpose of a doctor, which is helping people, in contrast to Dr. Samuel Phoenix. So I love these two guys in contrast. And one of my favorite things with kind of our overlapping narratives is some characters meet and some characters never meet. So our two polar opposites never meet at all in the entirety of the show.
Yeah.
So we see that what we get from Sackler upon further reflection, like rewatching, is that so this guy he's looking up to his uncle Arthur Sackler, who essentially built the empire of Purdue, at least in the form that made the Sacklers rise to power. And he wants to seed his own shingle, as hang his own shingle in the business, so to speak, which he thinks OxyContin will do. But primarily, again, it is initially like something designed to help people. But
well, he's got that opening monologue about pain, which is just a great hook to start out with.
The best line of the show,
the world of pain.
The first line of the show, which is I think is like the line you put on the poster because it's so darn perfect. The time has come to redefine the nature of pain.
And it's like, boy, howdy, he did all right.
I just love, there's so many great ironic kind of moments of writing in the show, like such an ironic mission statement in like what they're setting out to do. And he lays out the $40 million gamble on the time release opioid, and it goes terribly wrong. Yep. But I love like peeling back the layers of this guy, where we see at his low of lows, when things aren't going well for him, the black label is about to come into play. We see this guy. Basically, what they're doing, they're pulling kind of like a Cheney thing from the Vice movie that Chris McKay did, in which he was like, we don't know much about this guy, so we have to interpret like where's the humanity in this character. So we see like
that's a good pull. I could see that.
So I love that we gave him one real moment where he kind of got it, where he says we get a human glimpse of him towards the end, where he's at a low of lows and he calls like an ex-girlfriend of his, Vivian. So the idea is that the Sackler family frowned upon this girl that would have very possibly brought him happiness and like a different life path altogether than sticking with the family business. And he took the path, he didn't take the path less traveled. And we had that
almost like a Michael Corleone sort of, family business kind of dynamic. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There is definitely a
where it's like, if it wasn't for the uncle, like maybe he wouldn't have, the uncle casting the shadow in the first place is what drove him to, to do all this stuff to begin with. It's just kind of like a what if family tree domino effect almost.
Yeah. And the family was talking trash about him as well earlier on. So the family, it was like he was just kind of trapped in like just seeking the family's approval, but he was never going to get it. So I love that he had that line like, maybe I'm not capable of joy. So that's a heady idea to me, Tiki. It's the fact that at the end of by that point in the series, it was like almost like maybe like 6 episodes out of the 8, I guess. He's got so much money and power, and through all this money and power that he's accumulated, all this suffering has happened, and yet at the end of all of this, he reaps no true reward outside of the money. Like, he has no joy. Like, there's no reason for him to do all this. He's like, babe, I'm still not happy. He's like Charlie Brown at the end of the day. He's just, there's still no happiness. After all the suffering, after everything he's kicked up with, like, a positive intention, well, maybe this will bring me some joy. Like, nope, it's still the empty feeling of the life of the path less traveled.
Yeah.
So just again, there's so many wonderful layers to this character, and I think there is I like the evil World War II parallels to him. I wonder if you caught this. You know, there's this wonderful art direction thing in the show where there's a map inside like the conference room of the Sacklers, and the map has like this globe on it with like all like the map of like the globe on it. And you know, it's about Sackler's big thing where he wants, you know, he wants Germany. He wants to get the thing passed. He wants the opioids in Germany.
Oh, yeah. The German. I mean, I definitely was compelled by the Germany plot line. I didn't catch the World War II element of it, though.
Well, I mean, the leap that I made, I could be wrong. I just figured Germany of all the places, and you know, they kind of hype up the whole like Germany believes we need to suffer through pain to learn something, essentially. Where I think what they're getting at is, again, like some true evil figures in World War II, he's got designs on Germany basically as a gateway to getting all of Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, that's kind of things. But yeah, it's like a Game of Thrones dynamic in that Sackler family, man.
It really is, yeah.
By the way, someone we've talked about before, not always in a good light, but someone came back and I think redeemed herself a little bit. Jamie Ray Newman, really nice role as Kathy Sackler, I felt.
Remind me where else we've seen her.
Yeah, Bates Motel and The Punisher. She was the Rebecca we didn't like in Bates Motel. The you know, the El Tremero had, you know, I believe Romero's ex-wife, I think.
Oh yeah. Oh dear.
So that's
not a very flattering role.
Yeah, so I love that. You know, here she's the key to making him president, and I wonder, what is your read on this moment, Tiki? He's, you know, he basically pays her a compliment saying, "I'm glad you found someone." The idea is the Sackler family kind of looked down on her because she, again, the parallel Betsy of it all. She also was gay. Was looked down upon in the family, and you know, Richard supported her, and now is that him genuinely having concern for the other outsider of the family, or is that pure manipulation so he can become president?
Oh, that's a Dragon. That's a fucking tough question, honestly.
I like to think it's both.
You just really laid down like a philosophical gauntlet in front of me, Dragon. I don't think the answer for that.
I really like.
Here's the thing. I think in a way, I feel like this dude's sociopathic. So it's like, you know, it's kind of like the Dexter thing of like even stuff that he does out of caring for people, he does with some element of, you know, of manipulation and self-interest just by his very nature. That's my answer to that.
Cool. You know, there are a lot of fun lines Strolberg had, but what you brought up though with the performance though, with the, you know, how the sociopathic thing. I love that people are kind of terrified of Richard Sackler, and they're kind of like, they don't know what to make of him because he has like the dog in the meeting room all the time, and the dog is named after his uncle. See, I love this. He has like yet another kid.
I love that. Yeah, that's totally just like.
So he calls the dog
like Barbosa naming his pet monkey after Jack Sparrow.
Like he calls the dog Unc, and they're wondering why is he called it? Why is he called that? He just doesn't answer him because you just figure it out. And also the painting. He has the painting that his uncle got in China, and I think it's like a Chinese dynasty sort of thing, which adds to the parallels of the family. So again, it's an addiction to the power and wealth, basically, is what that painting symbolizes. He hates it, but he likes waking up in the morning to. It's like, what if Kingpin didn't like that painting, but he kept it up anyway? Well, she liked it. Anyway.
Oh, God. Okay, so, Dragon, let's go from the main villain to the main hero.
Dear God, I love having these two characters in utter contrast to each other. Keaton's arc as Dr. Sam Phoenix.
Okay, so can I just say, like, performance-wise, and just as far as, like, the makeup and everything, and the costuming, Dragon, isn't Samuel Phoenix just the embodiment of all the best doctors that we've ever had in life?
Yes, he is, right? So, they just captured it so, and that I think that's, to me,
they bottled it, Dragon. They bottled it.
Okay, so let me put it to you this way, Tiki. So there's a moment in this show we're getting to one of our characters, not yet, it's very soon. That is basically the moment where like I have to tell Tiki about this show, where before that, I mean, I was going to do it anyway on memoirs. But I was like, oh god, I hate. I think I hyped it up to you before we did memoirs, based on this one scene that we'll get to. But before that, like I was already like, oh god, this is such a great show. Seeing what Keaton's doing and how they're capturing the authenticity of every positive memory of a doctor you've ever had. We're like, this is a doctor. This is a doctor's.
But I love that before we even get into just fleshing out his character and the whole like every positive doctor memory ever thing, which is absolutely a true description of him. I totally stand by that.
He's the George Bailey of doctors.
But we get that haunting thesis. And Dragon, I love that almost every character in here in some way gets some sort of thesis scene. And his in the courtroom where it's like so many people died. It's like, oh God, what the hell?
And
like,
again,
this
right
is
after
heavy.
he says that title, Dopesick, that's how you start a series.
All right.
Yes. But yeah, so it just, again, the journey, his arc is the heart of the story, and I think it's pitch perfect. It's
he just goes on an emotional odyssey, Dragon. He really does.
I mean, he's the beloved town doctor. He was delivered 214 babies, and he's seen them all grow up. I mean, that's a man who's delivered roughly at least 2 generations of children in a Virginia.
How much of the percentage of the entire town has he delivered population-wise?
I'm trying to be like sparse with that assumption, but you'd have to imagine
like
it's at least
maybe 15%.
I mean, yeah, I guess probably, yeah. I mean, at most 20, but 15, I think, would be the responsible, kind of like figure on that, sure,
yeah.
So I just love that we see him. We set the dramatic irony so perfectly, where he prescribes everyone really responsibly at the start. He checks in on the patients.
Oh my God, and it's so good because it's like you see like the motivation for him to help the patients, and like the groundbreaking pain and everything. Like, we have Sackler just like giving that speech right at the get-go about redefining pain, and it's just like, and we'll get into it with with Billy, but he's also just like Keaton is just like the perfect, like, as great of a doctor as he is, he's also the perfect mark for this sort of thing.
I mean, Billy turns him into kind of that George Bailey charisma on full display at that weekend seminar when he talks about his wife and like how he's.
Oh dear God! Oh, they weaponize the fuck out of him in that scene. Absolutely,
I know, which is it's so horrifying. And Tika, let me ask you this:
that scene was honestly one of the hardest to watch. Like, it doesn't have anything to do with like people dying or but it's just like, just on a character level, it's just like, Keaton, no,
and your heart
you don't know it, Keaton, but you're betraying everything that you stand for. What are you doing?
And your heart goes out to this man who's just grieving over his wife in private. Like, he's not really trying to be, like going on about it, but they're kind of like putting him on the public forum, like, hey, talk about your dead wife.
Man, yeah, it's freaking brutal, dude. It's freaking brutal.
And I just love that you have this guy who cares about everyone, because I think in part, comparing him to Sackler here, is that he is. He's not like after a greedy practice or having a lot of clients and a lot of money or corporation. He's just in a small town. He has as many clients as he can handle and as he can keep track of. Where Dr. Sackler, again, he's gotten to like the big business of medicine, where, it's the difference of interacting with patients and seeing what you're doing on the ground level versus dealing with guys in suits, stories above people. That's very much what the difference is. Now, Tiki, let me ask you this. Okay. Did you see it coming that he would become addicted? Did you see the turn coming?
Honestly, like, just from a story perspective, yeah, I could have seen it coming, just because I just knowing what I know about Oxycontin, it's just like, Dragon, it's like, if you have access to it, if you have a supply to it, it's hard to resist. I mean,
I know, it's
like,
just the fact that he was the doctor, though. That's the thing that kind of made
I know.
Surely.
But that is the odyssey of his character arc, yes. Dragon. That's why I use that word, It's like he has to hit a rock bottom in the middle of the story, not the low of lows, in the middle of the story. I want to point that out.
I know, it's great. So what I love on the rewatch,
like, his low of lows is the middle, and then the main low of lows we'll get to later with with another character. But
yeah. So
anyways,
so for me, on the rewatch, I love that while he's visiting his sister-in-law, kind of like the last tie to his wife he has, you have the dramatic irony of, you're using pain as an excuse not to live, which, oh God, the dramatic irony of the pain and the painkiller of it all. And then, of course, that car accident to save Betsy. We gotta save Betsy. Save
Right,
Betsy
right.
and town, and that's the thing. I just love that doing something nice for other people is what put him in this position. It's just the fact that, oh god, this man is like wanted for nothing. He's been such a good man, so he's when this turn happens, he just goes from just the begrudgingly using the wonder drug to help people in a very positive way, which everything Sackler initially set out to do. It just have that gas moment of, oh god, he's Dr. Sam, no! He's getting caught up in the story. Like the moment it happens, you see, oh god, he's looking at the pain chart. He's been out of the story so long that now he's catching up with us, the audience. Like, we know about the pain chart and the doubling the dose and for the full
Dragon,
dose
that pain chart is still fucking being used in hospitals to this day.
I know, that's the thing. So by that, it's still very eerie. So Keaton just goes next level with the full circle return to what he did in Clean and Sober Tiki. Which says, you want to see the beginnings of this sort of thing, what makes this performance possible, you gotta see what he did in Clean and Sober. It's on HBO Max. So just seeing, using Sam and Betsy as our case studies, and basically the big reveal of the namesake is with Sam is that we say in the court transcripts what Dopesick means, and we're seeing him be Dopesick. He's like punching through the glass that's trying to wean himself off the pills, and it's, oh god, he's and the thing that gets me, he steals his own patient's pills as he's weaning them off because he's just betraying the trust.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
No, we're going to taper you off. How many pills you got left? And he takes the pills back, and he's storing that drawer shot, the shot of the drawer behind all the files, all the stolen pills.
And I think that's the end of an episode, right?
No, I think it's the beginning, honestly.
Is it? Okay, well, if it's the beginning, it's a good cold open.
That's what I'm saying. It's the cold opens on this show are fantastic.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I know you've been kind of a cold open withdrawal, but it's great. So just the low point, I think, is when he snorts the pill, like when he's going full on junkie, when he snorts the pill, and then we have, of course, I'm a sucker for this, and this ended the episode. Dream a little dream. Of course, the Bates Motel feels are getting activated. We're playing Doris Day. Dream a little dream as he's having a reunion with his wife.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, that reunion, that moment was incredibly Bates Motel-esque. Dragon, absolutely.
Oh yeah, and then of course he goes to rehab, and I love him having the very pointed question, like, does it work? Like,
no.
Here's
the thing, Drag. I want to just lay this out here. That the one thing I have with this show, painkillers do work, and rehab does work. And I feel like this show, there's some level of danger to sensationalizing this sensitive of a topic, all right? Like,
well, I mean, they didn't say
painkillers absolutely work in moderation, and I have gone through, a personal experience very recently where it was very hard for me to get painkillers when I was very much in pain and could have used it. So, Dragon, I don't know.
There is two differences I don't think you're taking into account. One is more regulated than it was then. I'm not saying it's fixed, mind you. I'm just saying it's a little more safer now than it was then, but I can't fully speak to your experience. I'm saying in terms of your recent experience, but beyond that, I mean, they didn't really just say plumb no. They kept it ambiguous, which I think was smart, though. They didn't say, like, no, it doesn't work. They're saying, well, again, it's not an easy fix.
That's true.
And he comes back. It's still, like, it's an ongoing process. I don't think they're really shutting it down with a simple answer. I think
what I like about it is I like the end point of his arc. I thought it was very touching. I thought it was
he found a way to become a doctor.
Because Dragon, I've known people like this. I've interacted, like I've had people like this be kind of like basically, Dragon, I've been helped by people like this as far as just like the driving the bus to appointments and stuff like that. It's like I know people like this in my life, and once again, it's like all the good qualities of a doctor just wrapped up into one, like through and through from start to finish in the arc.
Just the methadone, the Suboxone, all of that, basically leading to his arc of seeking absolution for failing these people, essentially, and also mainly losing Betsy. He's going for the second chance with Elizabeth Ann, which then leads to that. The bus really got me in the feels, man. It's just the fact that he's symbolically. Absolutely. He's taken the kids to school, ergo school. Look, I'm reaching for this, but just go with me on it for a second. The school meaning enlightenment to get well. So he's taken the kids to school. it's just such a deserved thing where it was such a long.
I just really like the community element
Yeah.
of it. The fact that he got a community back after his long journey,
Yeah, it's the fact that no one hates him at the end because they were all taken
Right,
by him.
right.
And the fact that's beautiful to me. But I just love the fact that this man so deserved, as we saw, and you're so ingratiated to like everything, all the good this man has done compared to Sackler, where he defied the odds where it was very unlikely. It was a very slim chance he'd be able to be a doctor again. And like he absolutely earned like that 1 in a million shot of like, and we didn't just make him a full on like doctor of the practice. He's a doctor at the rehab clinic.
Mm-hmm.
And again brings it back to clean and sober essentially, which I won't get into the specifics, but it very much it's a lovely homage to that film by the end as well. And him giving the meetings and everything. Also, something with Sackler before we transition, by the way, I just want to get there's an important detail. This obviously there's trickle effect with all the Sackler stuff, how it affects all of our characters. So I love that the big opportunity for change with Richard Sackler. So we learned the defect of the drug. That was the biggest learning curve for me watching. It's like, what exactly went wrong with the opioid crisis? And I love learning that, okay, it was the time release thing specifically. He had an opportunity to fix the problem at a loss of like his status in the family and losing the money with the $40 million gamble, or
fuck no, he's not going to throw away the status in his family, Dragon. At the end of the day, that's what drives him.
Exactly. So I just love that it was like they had that opportunity for change. You could do the responsible thing or just like rebrand and up the dosage and just. And I love the reason the time release thing failed. The reason the defect in their drug happened is because they only tested it till it was 50% successful, because that was the bare minimum of like what they had to test it for. Like, oh god, they cut every corner in the deck. Yeah. They cut every corner in the deck.
Dragon, like I love how it's like a building of tension, like in between, like the cutting the corners more and more, and it's like we're having bigger doses and more bigger doses.
We're doubling and doubling.
80 milligram pill, and it's like I love how they're fucking building up these bigger doses. Is like like almost kind of like the same way that Steve Jobs builds up like the the different product reviews.
And we had that money shot that terrified that poor secretary, who was then manipulated into becoming a drug addict, which is terrifying. Where we had the moment that it became clear for us when she saw the picture of like the progress of the drug, where you saw the 10 milligram all the way to the atom bomb sized
right
160 milligram.
160 milligram is
tablet.
Like the pharmaceutical atom bomb of the show for sure.
And it has to be 160 because they couldn't fit it on the circle.
Yep.
Purely for branding, making it terrifying purely for branding. And, people hate the tablet size because like the bigger the pill, the harder to swallow. Anyway, so
oh boy.
Okay, so speaking of all this, all of that, let's transition to our lawyers. Let's talk about our Southern Nelson and Murdoch.
Dragon, I think it's time for a little R&R.
Yes, the R&R. Let's talk Rick Mountcastle and Randy.
I've been waiting all podcast to use that.
Yeah, no, it's good. That's a good one. but oh god, so I love these guys. Are
Rick and Randy.
So Rick and Randy, very much like the Southern equivalent to Nelson and Murdoch, and I loved it so much. I love these guys.
I think they are absolutely. Would you agree? I mean, as much as I love Samuel Phoenix, he has the Odyssey. Like, he has the most compelling character arc. I would feel like these two are the most good and human people without any freaking flaws in the best of ways whatsoever. They are, like, absolutely just going for it, trying to do the best thing, whatever the cost.
Yeah, I love all the human details we gave him to really make that land too. Like we see Randy was my favorite. I love them both, but Randy was my guy. I love how Randy was like a referee for the kids on the weekends when they're doing the games, and
what I love about them is that at the end of the day, they're both so heroic, but they're also just average Joes.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
They're the David versus Goliath here. It's exactly what's going on. Like they're like, hey, you want to take on a company from a strip mall? Be my guest. They did it. Yeah, these are two Southern gentlemen of law, Tiki. Two gentlemen of law. With banter and can-do spirit. Look at what they accomplished.
You know what else is great about them is I feel like I wouldn't classify them as comic relief, definitely not. But I feel like totally they are the lightest characters in the show, and they're also the characters that kind of tie everything else together.
Well, yeah, I equate it like this, Tiki. They're the plot of the whole thing, where the rest of them are kind of the characters in the piece. These guys are the driving
Right,
force of the
right. That
plot.
makes sense.
Like they drive all the reveals in terms of when we everything we uncover about Purdue Pharma is through these guys, is through their stories, through like
Uh-huh.
anyway. But yes, so let me T. I got to tell you about the scene of the piece. This is the scene where I like, oh god, I have to tell T. I got to
Oh
try and
God.
get
Okay.
Tiki to watch
Okay.
this
Tell
show.
me. Tell
Okay,
me.
the scene of this show where I knew I was thinking this is a good show. This is where I knew this is a great show. This is where this is like the best of 2021 material.
Yeah.
Okay, the most gobsmacking moment, gobsmackingly brilliant payoff in the entire series for me is when Randy is sick with prostate cancer, as we establish. So he goes in. He says, "Okay, I'll be in a week." Like, no, take as much time as you know. No, I'll be a week. Very, very proud guy. So he goes in for the surgery. He comes out of it. So things have happened in the interim of getting ready for this in the background, the pain chart and everything. So he comes to, and we just have this brilliantly haunting scene of he comes to, and he's in pain. He definitely needs something to take the edge off, and the nurse is relentlessly pushing the oxycontin on him, and just
Oh God. Yeah. Yeah.
just that
Yeah.
moment of if you're the guy who's investigating Purdue Pharma, and like if I take this thing, it will not end well, and I'm in
Oh
agony.
man. Oh,
That's
you're making like honestly, Dragon. In the moment, I wasn't even thinking of it like that. But Jesus, the way you're describing it is making my skin
so when
crawl.
I
Oh.
watched that, I was like oh my god, this is the most brilliant show of 2020. Look at what they did. Oh my god, it's like it's such a horrific like position, and just like and his wife like taking up for him. Like, is there any like Motrin like I'll just take some Tylenol? Like, the man's willing to take Tylenol, not to take OxyContin. Like, dear
Well,
God.
here's the thing, Dragon. I have a firm stance that it's like I feel like we need to meet somewhere in the middle between fucking Oxycontin, which yes, I absolutely agree should not be on the market at all whatsoever, no doubt. But I also think like, just take a Tylenol. I think that's ignorant as well. You know, I feel
They
like
gave him
I'm
he
in the
went with a
position where
middle.
we should have like some sort of middle ground here. You know.
They did give him something of. They gave him like Motrin, which I don't know. I don't know how
Yeah.
it works with the other stuff. I guess it's like something in the middle. I'm gonna guess like something. It's not morphine. Probably a step under morphine. I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so okay, let's see. So again, our guys shoulder the plot with along with Bridget, and again, as we make major discoveries of the Shea business, to kind of plow through a few of the major discoveries that really were quite shocking. And again, folks, these are the stuff that really happened.
Uh-huh.
So the pain, I completely forgot that. Oh my God, they're behind the pain the whole pain is the fifth vital sign chart thing. Where oh God, the scale of 1 to 10, what is your level of pain? There was like a whole shadow company like Purdue Pharma, basically controlling the narrative on everything, and that they're basically everything turning up in favor of Purdue Pharma because they bought the competition or greased the right palms. So that they have that. Then you have the chart, which essentially is the smoking gun, with the results of the chart are completely, screwed up and everything intentionally, so it would look in their favor. The big one, the most shocking thing to me in the whole series, second to that scene I gushed about, the actual factual shocking thing to me, the Porter Jick study. So the guy who wrote the 5-sentence article who did one study at a hospital.
Yeah.
The guy who was basically the guy who wrote in like a 5-sentence like to a medical journal once, just
I mean,
one time.
The whole thing is basically just like a house of cards of lies. Yes. You know, it's just everything is just fabricated. It's like, all it takes is a little looking into, but it's like it's just barely enough to be like, yeah, we're legit. We're totally legit.
And this guy on the stand just got utterly just surprised, like, oh my, I wrote it in just like for the medical curiosity of it all. I didn't know that they built like a whole empire of misery on like a 5-sentence thing I wrote. What happened?
Right.
Terrifying. Also, let's just shout this guy because again, we're trying to fit in some of the supporting characters with our characters.
John absolutely, Brownlee. Yeah, any supporting characters for sure.
John Brownlee, man, I love our I believe he was the DA. If not, I don't know. I think our guys were the ADA and this guy was the DA. At the very least, some local attorneys working. This guy was the big boss. They have to report into. So John Brownlee had their backs, man, and he did a lot of good. I liked that he was a family man. We kept seeing him play.
What I like about him is he definitely had their backs, but he was also working within the system and trying to manage both. And it was it was not just a one-sided thing, and I really felt that that was a realistic dynamic.
Yeah, like he'll go up to like when Purdue Pharma, like when the deck, he realized the deck was stacked against him. With like the main justice getting in the way. It's like f main justice, man. Like he got the $60 million settlement at the cost of his job. Though, so I felt really bad for Brownlee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even the judge was disgusted with that plea deal after realizing, the horrors that these guys have undid. I really want to throw out this plea deal, but I can't.
Right.
All right, so perhaps, unless you have anything you want to get on the boys here.
No, let's transition to it's going to be very hard not to call her Claire Temple, because I feel like just characterization-wise, she's very similar.
If Matt and Foggy took on Claire as a new practitioner...
it'd be this. It'd absolutely be this.
Jessica Jones would watch the heck out of this show.
Oh, God, yeah.
You would binge this easily. Anyway, so Bridget Meyer, played by the ever wonderful, honestly, I don't think she's ever fallen short. Rosario Dawson, man, impresses.
I honestly can't think of a time she's fallen short. Yeah, I agree. So, even in a mediocre movie like Rent, she's like the highlight.
So goes from a DEA agent who's like on the front lines, seeing the ramifications of drug abuse and damage on the front lines. Goes from that to being promoted to the head of diversion, which means she's like the highest ranking female in DEA history, I think.
Mm.
And in that amount of time too, I'm sure that's impressive.
You already kind of laid out what I think is is one of the best elements of her story, is that we kind of meet her at the low point with the divorce and stuff, and then from there on, structurally wise, we kind of start back up with like, okay, this is a cute marriage. Where did it go wrong? There's kind of like an air of dread to it.
Which, by the way, I want to shout out yet another of our supporting players. I love this actor and things. He was in Hannibal, really. He played Dr. Chilton in the Hannibal series that was going on. Also, a lot of people know him, I believe, from Law and Order. I don't know which permutation. Don't ask me that, but he's in one of Law and Orders. It was Raul Esparza. Esparza. Anyway, that guy played Paul, the fiance then husband. So that guy, I really liked. There was a lot of subversion going on in the Bridge story with the divorce plot line. I like that it's not one-sided. You saw that he was very supportive of her, and you understood his position entirely, that she is becoming addicted to the case. Again, see what they're doing with the addiction thing? You have like those guys actually addicted. You have them addicted to the. You get it.
What I really liked about this dynamic is that I felt like it was a very realistic portrayal of like, he is absolutely not wrong about like the case is eating her alive. It is, but he is not taking the right approach of just being like, this is ruining your life. Because it's like, he should clearly be able to see, like, as much as it is consuming her, if you take it away from her, it's basically like, it's taken away like the only thing she has. So it's like, I like that. It's like, once again, I feel like, like with the characters in the show, a lot of it is about just trying to, the tricky thing about striking the balance. And he was trying to strike the balance between like, like, I care about you, but I also can't support your biggest passion in life. And Dragon, that's a tricky fucking position to be in. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. It was it wasn't like the usual BS that happens where, okay, well, we need the divorce to happen. We need, we need this to happen. So
looks like he's cheating. Ooh.
Yep, we didn't do any of that.
Right,
that's what I'm saying, Tiki. All the Bridget stuff was just impressively subverted. One, with the divorce, and two, most impressively, because this thing was the easiest place it could have gone, and it didn't. The fact that she's kind of a hothead, or she's really kind of like he's going a little gun ho in the case. Right? No, every time like she was right at every turn, like they rewarded her, like saying, no, yeah, you're a little gun ho, a little angry lady, but yes, it's been you've been right. You've been getting results. They call her out on a little bit, but they don't. They're not like punishing her for it all. Like not doing anything. You're off the case.
I feel like personality-wise, she's kind of like a more realistic Deb Morgan.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, it's like that's on the money.
Yeah.
Also, so I love that we got a thing of background from her. So she met this kid Lucas, I believe his name was, who was basically this purse snatcher at a pain clinic. Which, by the way, I love that she was very proactive and like she went to the pain clinics to assess how bad the situation was, and the fact is like there's no doctor oversight. You could very easily get prescriptions, like essentially a pill mill, one could say.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so I love that she meets this kid there and basically lays out what her motivation is, like what is the stake she has in her DEA work and why she's so invested in this case, and that she sees, oh God, this is the crack epidemic all over again, which ravaged my community, and also my grandmother got mugged 3 times because of this thing.
It's not another Zootopia.
What?
Zootopia is about the crack epidemic.
Huh. All right.
We'll look it up.
Okay. Anyway, but yes. So I like that gave her something like a really great kind of like I like tying it to something. Like we paralleled the Valium thing with like we were kind of throwing Valium under the bus, for Purdue Pharma to lift the OxyContin up, and I like that we kind of like rooted things in kind of history repeating itself, and we did that here with her motivation. So I thought that was nice. Also, the only character in the show to confront Richard Sackler in person.
Yeah, definitely. That's
Which
a
is really
big
special.
distinguishing role, and I feel like the DEA agent is an appropriate role.
Yes, and I love her, like, when she has that scene with him, Sackler's just like looking at her, and he's just taking it, and she knows she can read him, like, this guy's toying with us. He walked in here with a plan. She knew it. All right. I guess that. The most corrupt scene with the FDA. We should talk about that real quick. That was like a jaw-dropping moment where Purdue basically they're promising jobs and everything to a lot of people, which is how they've been able to keep everyone in their pocket. Which again, Purdue Pharma raking in the dough, with all the business and basically promise of like jobs to come. It's like, hey, here are our findings with the autopsy reports. 464 dead that were not junkies who took it as directed. That's over 98%. I don't agree with these findings. Like, oh, it's so disgustingly corrupt, man.
Right.
You just see Rosario Dawson's like response, like, "Are you kidding?" Like silently saying, "Really, man?" Just giving
it's all real. It's all real.
Yeah. Maybe Dawson wasn't there, man, but it was all real. So just even Giuliani tried to sway her, man.
Oh, I love that they work Rudy Giuliani in as like basically a pawn.
That was like coming off of when Giuliani was kind of cool too. That was the thing, because Giuliani.
Yeah, it was like post 9/11. Like, hey guys, I saved New York when New York needed me most.
Giuliani in the '90s to the early 2000s was kind of a cool guy. No one ever talks about that now, but I'm just saying there was a period where Giuliani. I
remember because I very vividly remember post 2000. Post 9/11. Dragon. I was fucking 10 years old when that happened.
He was on SNL saying we can laugh again. Like, well, can we be funny again? Like, were you ever funny to begin with? Like, yeah, look, Giuliani made a fun. He's on Seinfeld. Yeah. All right. So let's talk about.
We do not endorse modern Giuliani.
Sadly, no.
Just want to make that clear.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really have a stake in Giuliani these days because he's become complicated. But back in the day, Giuliani, brief period, 90s, early 2000s, was a nice guy. Okay.
Just as far as the personality goes.
Yeah, as far as we knew. Seems like a nice guy. Like, we don't know. All right. So let's talk.
Big disclaimer there.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I like the Giuliani who's making jokes about yogurt and Seinfeld. That's my kind of Giuliani. Anyway, so Billy Cutler.
Okay, Dragon, I need to know what did Will Poulter. What did you think? This is your Adam Warlock. What did you think?
I was unsure. Okay, so in general, when I heard Will Poulter announced for Adam Warlock, I just really didn't have an opinion one way or another. Because again, I'm thinking cast like that. People throwing Efron out there. Efron's a pretty boy. I could buy that as Adam Warlock. You're throwing Poulter at me. He's like, oh, the kid from that meet that what's the movie?
We're the Millers.
We're the Millers.
Yeah, we're the Millers.
We're the Millers.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was I was like, oh, it's that kid. Like, I mean, I don't really have a strong feeling about that. So I was always kind of looking at him in that vein, where it's like, yeah. So this sold me on Will Poulter's range.
Hell yeah, it did.
The kid's got range. Let's see what he can do. The kid's got range. And basically, it was like his role is best described for me in this as it's like a sales rep version of Wolf of Wall Street with a redemption story.
Totally. And I love how it's like he eventually becomes the smoking gun in the story, and it's like
Yeah,
a
he's the big
pivotal role.
whistleblower. Yeah, he's the
Yeah,
tape. He's
yeah,
the
absolutely,
tape evidence,
absolutely.
which is huge. The idea that
But I
the
also
tape.
love that he's also the insidious shark that comes in and ravages the community on the outset.
Tiki, on the rewatch, it enthralled me so much seeing like when the magnitude dawns on you that his bond with Dr. Phoenix and where that
It's
went.
your favorite pharma rep.
And the fact I love this, there's like a symbol of him. I don't know if you noticed this, where every time the flowers are the sign that he's arrived. Every time the flowers are there,
Oh
he
yeah,
like we
absolutely.
move the flowers and there he is. And again, like we've taught these pharma reps to weaponize pleasantries. It's insidious. He's a cog in the industrial
And one thing
machine.
that we didn't get into with Phoenix that we should probably bring up that connects with Billy is the fact that he had to watch his wife die of cancer, but in doing so he saw the benefits of painkillers.
Absolutely. And the fact that he manipulates that and he like comes up with the lie that his father had cancer, like that's already is such a deep betrayal. Now, what gets me is that I like to
I gotta
think.
say that's a sick lie, man. That like that right there already from the get-go. It's like, Billy, like, you're lucky you have such a compelling redemption arc, man.
Well, you see, because he comes into the show so clean, because it's pounded into him. Like it's not exactly like him, like necessarily like I'm
And
just
I
gonna
love
lie.
how all that training stuff, it's literally based on the fucking leaked tapes.
Yes, and the leaked tapes, I love that it went from then the tape is his redemption. He takes his training and turns
Yeah.
it into
Dragon,
absolution.
isn't that so meta?
It's great, it's again the PSA turned promo.
Like, I am going to leak the thing that literally molded my character.
It's wonderful. That's what I'm saying. The show is just so darn brilliant. Nothing wasted, man. It all pays off. I love that sort of thing.
Uh-huh.
So I like to think he developed while he was there. I like to think he developed a genuine friendship with Dr. Sam.
Oh, I do too. Absolutely.
And I'd like to think because there's a line that Sam had to him that does pay off later, where we had that bit where he said maybe if he's talking about because he's fallen head over heels for another symbol of the corporate corruption, which is Amber
You know what it is,
Collins.
Dragon? I'm sorry. I'm just coming to the realization now.
All right, what do you got?
It's the world's best liar revealed.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, might be. You might yeah. I'm hard pressed in the moment. You might got it.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's that's what it is. Fundamentally, story wise, it is a liar revealed. It's someone who's initially starting a relationship on the outset as a lie, and then molds into a genuine relationship, and then he has to deal with the consequences of the lie.
Oh yeah. So, with the arc of his story, I love that even through the relationship that he has with Amber Collins, the lady, the competitive lady who he kind of has a thing for. I love that we have this line that Phoenix says to him. I think sums up and it pays off in the end when he's well adjusted. He says, "Why don't you find a girl who actually likes you?" Now, ultimately, he gets married, and I think he has a kid with a woman who does actually like him. And again, per his his friend Dr. Phoenix's teaching. So ultimately, that makes me think there was a genuine friendship there. And,
yeah, definitely.
And again, he learns through the course of the story. He learns his bosses have no moral scruples, and it's like learning. I'm on the bad guys team. It's like imagine Krunk learning. Oh no, he's was bad. What happened?
God, oh my God.
I thought we were just making spinach puffs. What happened? So they learns about the pill mills and the whales and everything, and the whole thing there. So to me, the wake up call. This is what I'm taking the long road getting to here. So the wake up call scene with Dr. Phoenix, where it's kind of a 2-part thing. Where one, when he shows up after he's addicted the man that he basically did, first client that he's addicted, and
it's very much just like, I did this. This is on me, man. The blood is on my hands here,
and on my face after Dr. Phoenix kicked the crap out of me, rightfully so.
Right.
Like I just love when Keaton I love what Keaton. I'm sorry, I don't want to undersell because it's so great. What Keaton does when he's drug addled is astonishingly raw and scary. Like you see him he can't open the pamphlet with his hands because they're shaking so quickly. He looks terrible, and I just love this moment where you sell poison, Billy. he just like, that's when Keaton turns it on. That's when he turns it like he did the Vulture in that Spider-Man movie. He turns it
right,
on.
right.
You still poison Billy. And then, so just that scene where he's like, get out of here. You come here again, I will effing kill you. So that's us Keaton unleashed. But then here's the scene that broke my heart on the rewatch. I completely forgot about how chilling this moment was and how it affects this Billy character. When he visits him in rehab, so Phoenix calls him up. Billy offers a genuine apology to everything, to Dr. Sam, who he respected. I would like to believe he deeply respected, which is why he's being so forthright, admits the whole father cancer lie and all of that. And he's very apologetic. Like, I learned, I did not know. I want you to know, I didn't know when I sold you.
There's a liar revealed, Dark Dragon. There it is, right there in plain sight.
But this moment when it's revealed to Billy that, Billy, that's not why I called you here. I was wondering if you can get me more of those pills.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ!
And just the look. So that's the look on Will Poulter's face. He's so shocked and disgusted with himself for what he did to this man. The man's now a shell of his former self. What he did to this once great George Bailey of a man. Look at what he did. That's the wake up call.
He's like the anti-Clarence.
Yes, it's like I'm terrible at my job. Look at what I did. I sent him off the bridge.
Oh man,
without a bungee cord. God. Oh God, I told him, look what's over there, and I pushed them. Oh God. Anyway, so then of course he's the whistleblower with the tape, and again very symbolic, full circle with the tape, and that brings us to our last character, the saddest of the bunch.
All right, so Betsy Malum, Dragon. Here's the thing, just on a narrative level. I knew she was gonna fucking die, man. I knew it.
Well, I'm not shocked by that either, Teague. It was sad though.
No, but here's what I'm saying though. I'm saying there was just a cloud hanging over her the whole show, and just the dread of it all, and like, because with that big Phoenix moment at the start where it's like so many people had to die, and then she's literally the first character highlighted that gets addicted. It's like, oh man, this is not going to end well. Like. It was tough to watch, Dragon. I would say absolutely this is the story that hits the hardest emotionally, for sure.
Just making her and Phoenix, but mainly her. She's our introduction to all this. She's the patient POV ground zero character. She's like patient zero, I guess you would technically say. At least for the purpose of our story. And she's the everyman, suffering amidst the opioid crisis in a mining town. So I love that. The back injury she receives is basically what she's dealing with, pain, both literal and metaphorical, because she's got the back injury.
The back injury is like, I love how they make a point to be like, it's not just, she didn't just like twist an ankle or something. It is a legitimate, like serious on work site injury.
It's not just a bruise, folks. It's like a gash,
like a wide gash.
I mean, the way I saw it was like a black bruise, which never do you see a bruise that is just utterly black.
Right.
That's scary. So here's the haunting thing to me. I wonder what was your reaction to this when you saw later on when she's going to the really sleazy doctor. That's it's basically offering her, hey, I can get you those pills at a discount. Oh
my God!
When basically the shirt's removed and you see the bruise, the mark is completely gone, implying to me her back injury is healed. It's now just the pain of withdrawal.
I mean that's absolutely very common with drugs. Absolutely.
Well, no, I just love like the visual reveal of oh God, like the bruise that we set up is now completely gone. Like this is all oh God. Yeah. Anyway, so the fact that she's dealing with that physical pain as well as the emotional kind of pain right now, that she's a closeted lesbian with religious Southern parents.
And I feel like this is a perfect example of a character where it's like you kill her off right at the height of her starting to get better.
Oh yeah, that's what
the fact that she, the fact that she what kills me the most about it is the mother having that whole I'm sorry I didn't say anything the night that you came out to me.
Right after she made
and I hope you get a girlfriend, and I hope and I want to cook you and your girlfriend dinner sometime. It's like that's all she wanted. That's all she ever goddamn wanted.
Yep. And now I know. And then
what's more tragic about that, Dragon?
I know it is, but the fact that she wanted to
the fact that the mother saying that is great of a fucking gesture as it was. is what sent her down the path to call the ex-girlfriend.
Oh, yeah,
Dragon,
you're right.
it's such a twisted web of dominoes.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that part of it. Yeah, that's what motivated it. You're right. No,
I mean,
you're
it's so fucked.
I mean, for me, so real, always real quick. So with that, just with that ending though, is the fact that the fact that she was doing a shot of heroin because she was feeling bad about herself and basically trying to numb it before, like it's not just like I'm trying to end it. Like, no, it wasn't that at all. It was like, well, I'm just gonna numb the pain one last time and get better tomorrow with this new Sundome place. You know, it's like it's the idea of like, well, you might as well. It's like the rehab thing where they tell you to do it before you walk in the place. It's like an old practice. I don't think they do it now. But there was a time where they tell you, look, use everything you got, and then we'll clean you up from there. So you get one more high.
There's actually a big plot point related to that idea in Haunting of Hill House, of all things. So yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So yeah, that sort of practice. So I think the idea that she was using that kind of logic and like, oh, it's that one time was enough to kill her. Oh God, so sad. But for me, with the I'm just gonna highlight the other side of the parental thing because here's what they got me. They cast an actor I really liked as her father, and I really like this. This is a Jerry I do like, Tiki. So Jerry, I loved her father, and I love the layers to her father. There's Ray Mckinnon, who
Dragon, if there's
really
anyone more soft spoken than Sackler, it's this man.
So this actor is Ray Mckinnon, who I really liked in Ford versus Ferrari. I loved him in that. He was Carroll Shelby's buddy, who was like the pit crew guy. Anyway, so I love the scene that he had with Phoenix, the coded conversation about I got this cousin who has a basically like my daughter's gay, but I don't know how to process that. Saying my cousin's got a kid who's gay, and then again just a really wonderful, lovely kind of like advice, like you're gonna love that your cousin's gonna love that kid with everything he's got. Like it's the most important thing in the world, and that dinner table fight, it's just so sad and it's so raw, and it's like what gets me more with Jerry is seeing the mining accident that happens because she's become an addict. The big explosion that happens that basically calls Phoenix back to the town, all that sort of stuff happens. Is the fact that in the aftermath, she's getting yelled at by the bosses and they're interrogating her over what went wrong. You see Jerry, after he's had this blow up with his daughter, coming to her defense still a little bit. There's a distance there, but he's like, no, just tell him what happened. Where he's like about to cut her out of the life completely.
Yeah, totally.
I like the complexity there, and of course the scene you were really glowing about, the pill garbage disposal thing.
Oh my God! Oh, that was fucking brutal. Oh Jesus!
I caught a detail I completely forgot about.
Oh God!
On
Dragon,
the
there's so many brutal scenes in this show.
Right, so here's the thing I completely forgot about that makes this 10 times worse.
Can we first of all just give it up to this actress, man? Because it's like she had a redemption arc from dear fucking Evan Hansen to this.
Oh, so you recognize her from that?
Oh yeah, I recognize her from Hansen. Yeah.
Oh, cool. All right, yeah. So I mean, there's so many layers of tragedy to this scene, Tiki. The thing that gets me most is that she had to sleep with the sleazy pawn shop guy, who, by the way, later on is like, hey, you could you can buy your stuff back, or you could report it stolen, but that means you're gonna have to turn your daughter into the authorities.
Oh,
he's like such a mean guy, and the fact that she has to sleep with this guy, and after she's done that act of betrayal, you can see her many times in the thing trying not to sleep with people for drugs, and she had to relent on that because she's that desperate. So she does that. Then her father, all the pills that she just did that to get those pills, he throws down the disposal. She's like, everything was for nothing. And then the bit that got me on the road, I completely forgot about. She burns her quilts. The quilts that she had this hobby at the start about making quilts and everything. She set them on fire. Mm-hmm. I hate you. Oh, it's brutal.
It really is. Yeah, it really is.
And the thing that crushes me emotionally, I'm gonna throw another heady thing at you, Tiki, that I did earlier. I'm gonna throw a bigger one.
Oh dear God! All right, Dragon. Apparently, this whole podcast is just like really heavy emotion.
Okay. So the last conversation she has with Sam on the phone, offering her the whole seduction offer of like, hey, I will drive you like weekly when I go. I will take you with me, because he's genuinely so effusively apologetic for what he's done to this poor girl. And I love that she holds no blame towards him. Because no, they got us all. It's okay. And just like making the offer, like, I'm going to take you back and forth. I'm going to be there for you every step of the way. The idea, like she says, "I love you" to him now.
Oh yeah.
When she says "I love you," is she saying "I love you" because he's like the accepting father figure, or because I think he like knew that she was gay before, because she's her doctor. Like she's like, "I know, Betsy, it's okay. I know you don't even have to finish the sentence." Or is it "I love you, father figure," or "I love you because you introduced me to the drugs in the first place"?
No, it's got to be the father figure thing.
I like to think it's that too, but I like that there's just like a little crack.
Nah,
in there.
I don't think that. To me, there's not ambiguity about it, because I feel like her character is written where she's very self-aware of the damage that what is happening to her.
Okay.
That's where I stand on it, at least.
That's a good place to stand. That's fine. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, so her girlfriend moved away, which then led her to, obviously, well, we already kind of covered that. So the loss of Betsy, devastating. And I love that Jerry. I love how Mckinnon plays this scene to Sam, where he knows that he's to blame as well, and like kind of what drove like certain things. Everyone bears a little bit of blame, so he's not like inconsolably against Sam like the mother kind of is at the moment, where he says like this. He basically kind of says in a very southern polite way, "There's nothing. What happened. Nothing we can say or do is going to fix this." Essentially, I don't really want to see you again, but I'm not going to scream and yell at you. Just let's part ways.
Right. Yeah.
And just you see him like possibly on the path of his own addiction. Possibly, I could be. He's just drinking the hooch. Like he might be drowning in sorrows. It's unclear, but the fact is, it's everyone grieves in their own way. Is kind of the point there, and not always the traditional like way we've seen 1,000 times, which I thought was important. So Betsy's passing leads to the town having the petition against Purdue Pharma. Like they had like the town hall meeting essentially with their this Sackler's such a prick, man. Shame on Sackler.
Oh my God.
1,000%. Where, hey, do you want to give them what we gave Florida? Like essentially like 1.2 million or so, or like actually $2 million? Just no, just don't do that. So they offer him $100,000 in blood.
Right.
God, oh dear God, it's like, yeah. I got a button we can put on this so we don't end in all depressing stuff, by the way.
Please do. I was literally just wondering about that.
I know, that's what I was worried. Again, I asked you if you wanted to stick to this for this very reason. So, okay. Folks, at the end of the day, the fact that Betsy's passing does lead to something positive, and she kind of shakes the trees loose and kind of the wheels of progress that do happen. They kind of like, I assume they don't take that payout because of what the sister Beth says. Like, if you take that blood money, I'm leaving this thing. The town as a whole is a coal mining town, and we kind of teed this up with what Dr. Finnick said at the weekend seminar about why the whole nation is kind of built on steel, ergo steel comes from coal. So in a sense, you're coal symbolically, like this show, like everyone's struggle in this show, like Betsy, like Dr. Finnick's, like the people of the town, like all of those impacted. Coal it takes a lot of hard work in a journey to turn it into steel, turn you into something stronger for the journey. It ain't going to be pretty, it ain't going to be messy, it ain't going to be overnight. It's going to take a while. You're just going to squeeze and hope for a good, sparkly outcome on the other side. Thankfully, it happened in some way, shape, or form, not without some kind of blisters on your hands at the end of the day, some nasty blisters. I'm talking like icky blisters, man. But
yes, icky blisters.
Yes, icky blister. I don't want to get all. My point is, though, is the fact
I'm sorry, Dre. I feel like that descriptor right there just kind of lightened the mood. Good job.
But the fact is, it turned into something nice and sparkly, and kind of you're stronger for the experience. Is what my point is, which I think we all are after sitting through this.
I mean, it's absolutely a sit that's like that, right? Where it's like it's a very heavy show, but you feel like, I mean, first of all, I feel like it's very much got a lot of educational value to it, as much as a couple of the messages do kind of like, I feel like there's a moral line where it's like, oh, I don't know, we'll see. I mean, but goddamn, it's told in such a compelling way that you kind of got
I mean,
gotta just check that moral line at the door at a certain point. So
yeah, I didn't think anything was going to top the pharmacist, but dear God, this thing did it in spades. I mean, if you're going to tackle the opioid crisis, I mean, that's maybe the docu-series equivalent, but this is how you do it in like just the compelling narrative, and just it was just again, it just sparkled like a diamond in the end. It was so beautiful.
yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
All right. So yeah, thanks. Thanks for listening, folks. Have a good night.
Yep. Don't do the
Adam
oxy.
Warlock. Adam Warlock.